Greetings from Canada. My name is Thomas Court, and today I'll be talking to you about my upcoming Google Summer of Code project with BeagleBoard.org. Over the summer, I will be developing I2C drivers for the Minix operating system to enable better hardware support for the BeagleBone as well as the BeagleBoard XM. Before I dive into the details, I thought I'd begin with a brief introduction as I'm relatively new to the BeagleBoard community and not a lot of people know me yet. I'm a student at Heritage College. It's located in the city of Gatineau, which is in the province of Quebec. Quebec is situated right across the Outaouais River from Canada's capital city, Ottawa. I'm just finishing up my electronics technology diploma, which I expect to graduate with in June. Pictured here is the radio modem I designed and built as part of my capstone project. But enough about me. Let's get on to what you're really here to find out about, my Google Summer of Code project. Let's begin by meeting the new BeagleBone Black and progressively drilling down into the details. Now, this little guy is a full ARM-based single-board computer centered around the AM335X Cortex A8 processor at 1 GHz. It hit the market last month and has been making quite a splash. At only $45, it's definitely a good value for your money. Add to that the amount of documentation publicly available, and it makes an easy target for open source operating systems. To give you an idea of the documentation available, the technical reference manual for just the SoC is over 4,100 pages long. Now let's take a look at Minix. This POSIX-compliant, microkernel-based operating system has been around for a long time. Longer than Linux, in fact. But until recently, was only primarily used as a teaching tool in operating systems courses. Since Minix 3 development began, the new goal of being usable as a serious system on resource-limited embedded computers, as well as for applications requiring high availability, was added. To that end, many features have been implemented in the past few years. For example, Minix can now survive driver crashes and heal itself. An ARM port has also been completed with preliminary support for the BeagleBoard XM and the BeagleBones, but more work remains. Minix currently lacks an I2C subsystem and I2C drivers. I2C, or as some people call it, I2C, or IIC, stands for Inter-Integrated Circuit. It's a simple bus that uses two bidirectional lines. Many devices, usually integrated circuits, connect to the bus. My job for the summer will be to develop a generic I2C subsystem and drivers for specific devices. I2C support is an important feature to implement to help more fully support Minix on the BeagleBone Black and other Beagle hardware. For example, the HDMI framer embeds an I2C bus master interface for DDC bus communication to read the extended display identification information. This includes stuff like the resolution for the connected monitor. The power management chip is also an I2C device. Finally, there's an EEPROM on each board as well as on every cape. Those are the expansion boards for the BeagleBone. The EEPROM gives some basic information about the board. As you can see, I2C is a key component to support. Now that you've heard a bit about the project, I'd like to itemize the deliverables. The first deliverable is a generic I2C subsystem. This will do the job of setting up the I2C registers, mapping them into the driver's address space, taking the I2C module out of reset, initializing the I2C buses, handling interrupts, initiating transfers, and transmitting and receiving data. Basically everything needed to send and receive data on the I2C bus on the BeagleBoard, XM, and BeagleBone will be done as part of this task. The second deliverable will be an I2C dev interface. Both NetBSD and Linux provide device file interfaces for I2C. Instead of reinventing the wheel, I will develop a dev interface for Minix, which implements both the NetBSD and Linux interfaces. This will make porting software easier and lead me to my next task. That task is importing the I2Scan program from NetBSD. NetBSD provides an I2Scan program which probes an I2C bus for devices. I will import that program into Minix-based system and use it as a first test. Moving on from there, I will begin writing code to access the actual devices on the bus. Deliverable number 4 is an EEPROM driver. This driver should be relatively simple to implement and will be used to query information about the board. It will also be used later with BeagleBone capes. The capes each have an EEPROM with information about the cape such as what the cape is and what pins are being used. Deliverable number 5 is an HDMI framer driver and frame buffer enhancements. Currently, display information such as screen resolution is hard-coded into the frame buffer driver. The goal of this deliverable is to use the HDMI framer IC to query the EDID information and configure the frame buffer driver appropriately. Deliverable number 6 is a driver for the power management chip. That's the TPS 65217C. This driver will expose the power management features to the operating system and allow the system to take advantage of them. Deliverable number 7 is initial cape support. A cape is an expansion board for the BeagleBone. I'm hoping to get a hold of a BeagleBone weather cape. It's probably the best cape to work on since it's basically just a collection of simple I2C devices that hang off the third I2C bus. It provides sensors for temperature, barometric pressure, humidity, and ambient light. It will definitely be a good final test of the I2C code that I'll be developing. Those tasks should keep me busy until the end of coding in September. But I won't leave you hanging until the end of September for another project update. I've created a blog to share weekly updates, milestones, as well as information about building and running my code. The code is hosted on GitHub, and I've also set up a project page at beagleboard.org. If you want to contact me about the project, you can hit me up on IRC. The best time to catch me during the summer will be between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. My nick is tcourt on irc.freenode.net. I'll be in Beagle GSoC, Beagle, Minix, and Minix Dev channels. You can also shoot me an email at tcourt@minix3.org. Before I close, I'd just like to thank BeagleBoard.org for accepting my proposal and giving me the opportunity to spend all summer in a nice air-conditioned room doing what I love. I will also be receiving some hardware this summer to help with the project, so I'd like to say thank you in advance for that too. Lastly, I'd like to send a huge thank you out to Keys, Franz, and Ben for agreeing to mentor me this summer. It should be a blast, and I can't wait to begin coding on June 17th. With that, I'll bring this video to a close. I'll be posting another in September to share the fruits of my labor. Till then, see ya!